ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? It's your boy Dwayne, and already joined by my favorite crew of peoples, as you know. And y'all already know what time it is. This is the greatest audio podcast of all audio podcasts. That's right. I'm talking about none other than Pass the Ox, ladies and gentlemen. And we got a real deep subject for y'all today, man. It's gonna be cool, but first, before we even really get into this thing, let me introduce my two peoples because y'all know how we do, man. Can you the intro? So start with the ladies first. You already know none other than Queen of Clatchet, not to be confused with the Queen of Ratchet, and of course, you already know Miss Bougie Thuggin and my oh so favorite cousin. I'm talking about none other than the one, the only. Young 2000s vibe. I'm talking about Miss Janean. What's happening?
You give the best intros. It gets better and better every time.
Well, thank you. We hey, only for the fam, man. Only for the fam. We already I'm playing. We do this for everybody. Y'all know how we do, man. This is what we do. We're intro, you know what I mean? But of course, you can't forget none other than the man, the hardest working man in all the show business. The man that gives you all of the plans, because he got a plan behind the plan, behind the plan, behind the plan, and all these things, understand. And I'm talking about the one, the only, you know him as my favorite, your favorite, that's right. Do it with me, people. Mwah! Your critique of artists. I'm talking about none other than the one true tribal chief, none other than Mr. Derrick Myers. What's up, sir?
Yeah, look, tribal chief. That's
name in my phone.
You technically I could get flamed for copyright for that nickname. That actually belongs to someone else, but I just thought it was fitting. It kind of fit.
Who cares? It's here now.
Oh man.
OTS will get to that level one day. But right now, we're not on their radar, so honestly, they don't know. They don't know
the reference.
No.
So, Joe, don't come for me. Don't come for me. All right. I just had to borrow your nickname, sir. Okay, that's it. But y'all, what's happening? It's great to be with y'all again, as always.
Yes, sir.
Today, y'all know we usually like to have some fun. There's a lot in music and everywhere that's been like crazy, you know what I mean? But we're gonna give y'all a short form edition of the show today, man. There's a lot to celebrate. We got a versus battle going on live tonight. Shout out to Cleveland, shout out to Memphis 10, Bone Thugs and Harmony, 3-6 Mafia, putting on for the cities. Legends and the GOATs doing their own thing of their respective cities and reminding people some stuff. So shout out to that. Shout out to just artists who have dropped dope music, whether it was something occasional for the holidays or whether it was just, music to drop for y'all on surprise. You know what I mean? But let us also take this moment to let y'all know, don't forget, we will be giving y'all a Pass the Ox Best of 2021 episode where we go through and give y'all some of our favorite musical moments or musical albums and vibes of this entire year. Because what a dope year of music it has been, I would say, for sure. I'm sure Derrick would agree. I'm sure Janean would agree. Yeah. That being said, yes, all of that to be said right now. Right now, I want to make the tone very serious because we lost a rapper, as you guys know, in Young Dolph, Memphis, Tennessee original, Memphis, Tennessee native, North Memphis to be specific to everybody who is from Memphis and knows about the North Side, but nonetheless, he was gunned down at a local spot within North Memphis that he was basically doing what he would always do, just popping up shop, showing support, only to be gunned down by surprise out of nowhere. When the news hit into the scenes, a lot of people were shocked, were in an uproar and just surprised at what just happened. To a lot of us, this has been nothing new as of late because we've been seeing this a lot in a very similar fashion. And so we've seen people giving their condolences. We've seen people do what they do. And I had a clip to play for y'all from Drink Champs, but I didn't pull it up. So I won't do that. But what I'll do is just kind of paraphrase a lot of what was said. Actually, it was not Drink Champs, it was Breakfast Club. Sorry, guys. It was Breakfast Club where they talked about a situation where he was in this before, where he was gunned down once. Not too long ago, a few years ago to be exact, but he actually made it through alive with this one. And to my understanding, after doing my research on Dolph, Dolph was really always built to just be the type of person to go into a place by himself with no care and no problem in the world. Only to find out that even with the status that he had, even right there on the Breakfast Club, they made it known like, Dolph, no, you can't do that. Like, you got status, man. You can't be going and just popping up places by yourself. Now, according to him, it was a learning lesson based off the last incident that happened a few years back with, you know, getting shot up. But it carried to recent day where apparently same case, but did not walk out on the other end of it. So, giving the history of what has happened, a lot of people have had their opinions and thoughts on what happened with Young Dolph. And I have my favorite peoples with me here to just discuss this subject as a whole of even going back to the days when we were too young to really remember this, but remember it enough of how it impacted with Pac and Biggie's deaths, resulting in shootings and killings. But yet, since then, we didn't really hear or see a lot about this to this degree. The biggest beef that came about from then in those days was, I believe, Ja Rule and 50 Cent, which was physical but never involved guns to either one of them being dead. And then down the line, even beyond all of that, as the gangster rap era kind of, I guess you could say, faded, and things got more be yourself, be who you are, street rap was still a thing with the Gucci Mans, the Young Jeezys, and so many others, the TIs, if you want to throw TI in there as well. But even with that, it was more, you heard about things. We know TI went to jail a lot of times for gun possession, different things like that. But it never resulted in him being shot and killed or anything of that nature. So I want to ask you guys, like, what do you think has led to these recent events that we've seen these past few years with these artists just being gunned down in their own neighborhoods at that?
It's thank you. It's a lot to try to dissect and break down and peel away layers. As far, I guess your first question was what's leading up to it happening more frequently now. I
Mhm.
think music has become a come up, right? Like it you don't have to have a major label behind you anymore. If you can buy studio time or if you can buy the equipment, if you have a phone, goddamn, you can put out songs, and if you can create a following, that's a bag. You know what I mean? And so we see a lot of street dudes who are talented musically be able to get a bag, and it happens quickly, and sometimes it's not enough time to separate themselves from the street shit that they were doing or the street shit that they were doing to fund their music, and the beef carries on. And I think that that's what happened here. Like, obviously, Dolph had like real beef because this wasn't the first attempt at his life, as you said. Um, and it ended very unfortunately. it sucks though, like in his situation, like in Nipsey's situation, where it happens at home. Like the one place where you're supposed to feel comfortable and supposed to feel like I could walk around with no security is not the place where you're supposed to do that, because your home is, they're going to give you the most love, but that's where a lot of the hate comes from too. Like how dare you be successful? Like, how dare you be able to come up out of this shit that I wasn't able to come up out of? And there's a lot of hating going on. So you have this thing of where people want to stay real or stay true to who they are, and they don't want to have this security, but you kind of have to.
Oh yeah,
You know,
you need to. I mean, I think
obviously.
yeah, I think it really boils down to jealousy because you have
Yeah.
people that are the people that are actually taking this type of action against these guys um that came up the same way they came up.
Mhm.
The difference is they're not willing to put in that same level of hard work and dedication that these guys put into to separate themselves. So when you see someone that came from where you came from
Mhm.
that is successful and is doing what you want it to do,
Mhm.
um it's a matter of time. I mean, that's why, like, it sucks to say this, but like you cannot live where you came from like when you get like that. Uh, because you do that, then all of a sudden stuff like this happens. Like, take Nipsey for example. Like Janean said, he lived that life to he lived that life, and that life supplied the necessary money to get started in music, right?
Mhm.
And he basically applied that same hustle to music. That's it. That's it. But the guy who killed him was also a crip that just didn't apply the same logic and knowledge. Like, how do you go to someone that is trying to do good in your neighborhood, actually make a difference, and you're that, like, I can't even imagine being that jealous of someone. You're that pissed off that someone is able to be successful that you want to take their life, and not just their life but the lives of their loved ones, because I mean, these guys have young kids, parents, siblings, husbands, I mean, wives. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have people that their lives are forever changed, and then your family's life is also forever changed because you decided to be stupid.
Hmm.
Like, it's you're affecting more people than you really think
Mhm.
with your stupidity. You know what I'm saying? And it's also a level of selfishness to it as well. Like, you're that insecure that you would rather take someone out that is that bright. That doesn't even make sense. And honestly, these guys' legacies live on because they're doing so well.
Mhm.
Like, not just like with their careers, but they're doing so well with trying to create positivity in their neighborhood.
Mhm.
Like, how demented do you have to be to put out that kind of light? You
And then
know,
it wasn't like they were on some like arrogant shit. I mean, of course, like I'm gonna be on some like flashy shit because like I work hard. I do this.
it's a
This
part
is
of the lifestyle too.
I have
Yeah.
it. It's my lifestyle. But like I'm still 10 toes down in the community. Like I am giving back. Like I'm putting food on multiple tables. You know what I mean? So it's like it sucks. Like you want to become successful to ultimately come back and give back, but we're seeing a trend where when you do that, it's to your demise. Like you have to separate yourself, and it
Mm.
sucks that that is
Well,
like that.
and it sucks like that because of the fact that these guys have this mentality of like, trying to make sure that people that are from their neighborhood know they're still real.
It's
Like
possible. Yeah, that too.
there's still they might have this success, but they're not allowing that success to allow them to forget about their people. And like I get it. I understand that and respect it, but like it's almost like you can't be, at least if you're going to be in your neighborhood, you have to have more security just to be there, which is weird. You want your people to be able to come close to you, especially when you're trying to inspire the next generation. You want them to be able to you know love on you and you know partake in your success as well. Like you're bringing that neighborhood up with you,
Mhm.
but you just can't live there and be comfortable. It's almost like you're not like it's home, but it's not home. You can't be there like that,
Yeah.
which is weird. That's weird.
Yeah, Charlemagne had a lot to say about that in terms of exactly what you just emphasized about like we see these rappers trying to give back to their communities and literally live here like I'm not going anywhere. You think about a guy like 50 Cent who is from Queens, New York, but did not stay in Queens.
Hmm.
With all the success he has, and probably will never stay in Queens, especially with the success he has. But you're also talking about a man who knows that in that same hood, he was pretty much shot 9 times.
Mhm.
And if he was to probably go back to stay in that hood, even with the status he has now, somebody would be like, oh, you were shot 9 times here. I owe you a shot. Only this time, you ain't surviving, you know?
It's almost like a
And
level of invincibility when you get shot,
yeah,
you live through it, and then you still like, hey, that didn't take me out. Like that's
mhm,
what we saw with Tupac.
yeah,
That level of invincibility and almost arrogance of just like I can't be touched.
yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you brought up Pac because that's a comparison that Dolph got in terms of when he last got shot before this incident. They were
Yeah.
talking about like, man, you hopped literally after that moment when you got shot, and it wasn't in Memphis when it happened. This was somewhere, I believe
It
this
was
was
Vegas,
Los Angeles.
wasn't it?
Yeah, this
Hmm.
was some other city. This happened in, but he came right out. They said he had a sling on, everything came right out. Got on his social medias. Hey, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm still doing what I do. And they was like, bro, I for sure thought this the new Tupac in a way. You came straight up out of that like nothing happened and went right back to doing your usual business, like in the studio, finna go do this, finna just get on my grind. And like when you see this happen, it just makes you say like, why feel that way? And I get it. If you survive a shot, you do kind of, I get the invincible feeling, but you still have flesh and bullets do still go through. Don't matter
Yeah,
what
but think
happens.
about it. You feel like you have that level of invincibility just in terms of like status. Like you can go anywhere you want. You can buy almost virtually like anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like, and I'm pretty sure that's why Dolph also felt like he didn't need security because like like it's almost like looking at it just like I'm this superstar, people should be able to show that level of respect without, you know, having security like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking that you're in your hometown, like, hey, you should be able to move around the way you want to be able to move around. No, you can't.
You can always get caught slipping.
Oh
Always.
yeah, anywhere,
Oh,
anywhere, but especially at home where people know like where you like to frequent.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Come on.
And they said like he had just did like a little quick like check-in interview type thing where he was like, "Yep, every week I am up here and getting these cookies." You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like it's a routine. Like we know what your routine is. We know where to catch you slipping.
Yeah, it's sad. That's a sad thing. I mean,
Yeah, and it's
I don't
weird
know.
when you think about because a lot like it's very similar to the Nipsey situation because a lot, you know, Memphis has been still in an uproar since this news, attempting to find whoever was behind this,
Mm.
trying to do whatever, however, just in a war, if you will. And it just makes you wonder, like, because even with Nipsey, it was the same case in LA. Like, people were just in an uproar, like, yo, who did this to a guy, like, really trying to give back where we are? Like, why would you do that? And it's almost like a half and half situation sometimes with this, where you got the people that respect what you do for your hometown, because almost like a double standard in a way. Because if you leave your hood, it's almost like, oh man, you ain't from here because we don't see you nowhere. We don't even see you out. But when you that one that's like going back to what Charlamagne was saying, it's like that jealousy factor, kind of like what you mentioned. It's like you suddenly like, okay, I'm staying here, I'm not going anywhere.
But it's
But
almost
you
like
just,
it's almost like survivor's remorse too.
yeah,
Like
weird.
you made it out, and then you looking back at everyone that's living where you came from. Like,
I want to pull y'all up with me.
yeah, I want to do it, but like, you just feel guilty of like having this level of success.
Yeah,
You shouldn't. That's how it reads. That's how it
yeah.
reads. I don't like, I get it, but bro, I'm telling you, man, that this I, if the whole Nipsey situation didn't wake people up, I honestly don't know what will at this point.
I agree because even I mean, if we breaking this into coasts, I mean, based off a lot of things and from doing research, because Dolph was a guy I knew about, but didn't really just. I knew he was from Memphis, I knew he was a rapper, I knew he was doing his thing, but I never really got a chance to really just look up on him. And after this recent news, I really just had a chance to check out interviews with him and see where his mind was at, and to see where his influences were, the Master P's of the world, that whole era that we all know very well. With him being 36, he was basically in our age range. So everybody we knew and watched and witnessed and listened to was inspiring him to get into this thing. The fact that he was saying, man, look, how independent he was for one, and how labels kept throwing money at him. And he kept going to his fans about it. Yo, should I sign this deal? Nah, bump it. Let me just keep on doing what I'm doing because it's clearly working if they keep throwing me these offers. So keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna just pull up to any artist I want, give them the bag. Like, hey, here you go. What how much you need for us to make this collab happen and blowing up? And it's one of those things where when you look at who he was and you really see that he was a simple dude that really did love his city, while also was a businessman that really knew his business, really understood it. Much like you said with Nipsey, being able to take that and apply it into the music business, take the
Hmm.
street hustle, apply it to the business world, and figure out ways to grow and manifest. And I feel like Dolph could have got to that level of being with a Nipsey, where like taking it out the street life to be that much more introspective. Like, I don't know. He has a slogan where he just doesn't trust no woman, no female, apparently. Where they asked him about that, and in his mind it was, man, y'all be tripping sometime now. I know Janean know, as a woman, hey,
Bro,
I don't
I
know.
understand like a man's downfall a lot of the time is a woman. Wars were started over women. Like I
Yeah,
totally understand. A,
yeah,
a, a lot of setups happen because you got caught slipping with a female. Like
hmm
I totally get it.
yeah,
I'm all for girl power, but I totally understand.
yeah. Like he made it very clear in his songs about that, but then even in interviews when it was a woman, actually asking him that, he's like, I just want to know, like, what if the right one come along? And it's like, you could tell like not that he don't believe in it, but clearly he saw he was working things out with his baby mama, obviously making that work with his family. So
Hmm.
it was things where he was really starting to evolve and mature in a lot of other aspects of life, and for this to be cut short like that to show like where do you go from here? Like I just have to know if you're a rapper right now, what are you even thinking? Are you still thinking about the bag? You still thinking about your hood in terms of like, hey, that ain't gonna happen to me? Or like what is even going through your mind right now? Like you said, if it didn't wake you up with Nipsey and this Dolph situation doesn't make you wake up, who will it take? What will it take?
I think it's like it's just so difficult because it's like you don't want to jade you because like yes, giving back to your hood or going back home isn't necessarily smart, I guess, inside of the grand scheme of things. But then you don't want to get to a point where you're like, yo, I'm gonna make it and I'm gonna say fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Because like
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole goal ultimately is to try to shift the mindset and to stop this hating type of mentality and to try to give back and to try to put more money into the neighborhood so that it doesn't end up like this. So it's like on one hand, you're like the smart thing to do would be this, but I still have love for my people. So even though it hasn't played out so well, I still love y'all and I still want to give back. So it's a really difficult position to be in because you don't want to give up on folks, but you kind of have to. It seems like.
I don't think that is really that you have to like not do what you want for your hometown, but you just have to be like strategic and smart about it, like in
Like I
terms of
love
how you
y'all.
move. I'm sorry.
Like I love y'all, but from like a distance.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
especially when you have so much more responsibility in terms of like just business wise, or even your own wife and kids. Like
Mhm.
you have to be able to move in a smart way, especially when you know you come from a specific lifestyle where you can get caught slipping. I mean, if you're caught slipping, that's it. Like you have to be smart about it in terms of the way you move and the protection you have around you when you move.
Mhm.
Um, I think it just comes down to that, but I don't think that. Let me put it like this: I think when you have some people that come from situations that they come from, they're not thinking about security measures. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not really a thought in terms of like I can't go certain places without, you know, having someone with me or people with me or whatever. They just don't move like that. So you think that you just have that ability to move when you have money, and it's almost like there should be, which is kind of going to sound ridiculous, but there should be a crash course for artists in terms of like how to move, how to save, how to not blow your money, and focus on the artistry. Like it almost seems like there needs to be something like that. Um, before you like get into the industry, but because of the way technology is right now, I think something like that would have happened or would have been more possible before technology became what it is, because there is no gatekeeper at this point. It's your phone, the internet, social media. As long as you got everything plugged away like that, you're good. And it's just about being able to be consistent. There is no way to stop someone from putting out their material. So, um, there should be a crash course, but I don't. I don't know how have someone come in and do that because
Because
without, I mean, unless they really want to learn that, but people really just want to focus on getting the money and blowing up and the fame and stuff like that.
mm,
I
Fame
think the
comes with a
crash,
cost.
yeah, and I think the crash course comes from like these people's interviews. Like they're literally living their lives and sharing their lives on social media. And like
mm,
Dwayne said, going back and watching interviews after someone has passed, you're like, okay, like they were dropping gems this whole time. Like
Hmm.
they had the right mindset, but it's like me having the right mindset and wanting to do right and trying to move as carefully as possible, even though he could have had more security,
mm,
that's not gonna stop a fucking hater. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-mm.
that's not gonna stop somebody from doing something dumb. And like even in a situation where I have my boys around who are supposed to be protecting me, so to speak, if these are my boys and they're supposed to be the people I trust to kind of look out, it takes a second to get shot. Like I don't like how many people need to be there to guarantee you won't get caught with a bullet or won't get caught by a bullet.
yeah,
Yeah. I it you basically, I think bottom line is you have to really just pay attention to who you have around you. Like you have to really make sure that you have people around you that you can like truly trust, and make sure that you know you try to move as safe as possible. It's hard. You're not going to be able to block everything, but I think as long as you're able to maybe like move strategically, it should eliminate a lot of opportunities. It should, but again, honestly, I don't, because we've seen this happen multiple times since Nipsey was killed.
mm,
I don't think anybody's really learned that lesson. I really don't. I don't think that that's something that anyone will learn,
yeah,
because I think this is going to be something that continues to happen. Unfortunately, this is going to be something that continues to happen. It's not going to be something that I think we won't see anymore, because
mm.
jealousy is not. There's no expiration date on jealousy.
That's true.
It's that's gonna be around as long as the human race is here.
Yep.
So it sucks, but check the people you got around you. That's the only thing that you can do. Check the people you got around you. Try to move as safe as possible.
Mm. Yeah, I was gonna ask. You took the words out of my mouth with that a little bit because I was gonna ask you if I felt like there was just a true solution to what we're seeing as of late. Because you know, um, a lot of these rappers have been dying younger. Um, you know, common age fact: Pac 25, Biggie 24, Dolph 36. Vaughn was what, 19, 20, 21,
Nipsey was 33.
Yeah,
33 from Nick,
super young.
Yeah.
like not even chances to really like live out your full potential of life, you know.
Nah, you
But
barely you
that's
barely even scratched the surface of your prime years at that point.
yeah, yeah. But see, what's interesting, and I guess what makes me ask if y'all feel there's a solution to this, because again, when you think about the 50 cents, the Master P's, you know, even a guy like Snoop, you
Hmm.
know, these are guys who've been in the streets a long time. You can even make a case for a guy like DMX, that it wasn't gun violence that took his life away. But we know he was a product of the streets, but we also knew what kind of mind he had too. So do you think it's mental? Do you think it's what would you say is a solution to this? Like, do these guys like a 50 Cent and like a Master P or somebody? I know Master P once said that hip hop should have a union.
It should.
You know.
It most definitely should. Especially when you have people that are dying so young and they still have families and like I think Nipsey was smart as hell to have a lot of stuff set up that early.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's only by the grace of God that that even happened because he had all of his he had all of his masters. You know, so he owned his material. So every time you stream his music, his family gets paid. He had to deal with Puma. He was doing everything with the clothing line. You know, that's something that I think sets his family up very well. You know, but not every rapper has that situation. You know, so when you get gunned down that early, you know, yeah, you have money from from labels, but that doesn't when once that artist is gone, you know, the family doesn't own the if the family doesn't own the masters, that's pretty much all you got at that point. So yeah, it'd be nice to set these families up so that you know if these artists you know are taken early, they can be at least be taken care of. But the way I think what you're seeing with Snoop or with 50 or Master P is that they've learned how to move. That's it. That's the difference between them and other people that were taken early. They learned how to move and how to be strategic with it. You know, still you can still do what you need to do, but do it the right way. And I think they're the shining examples of that, especially 50, especially 50. You know, but you've got people. See, the problem is also when you're that young. Of course, you think you're invincible just based off of age, not even status or whatever, just based off of age alone. Nothing going to happen to me. You know how much stupid stuff I did, like in my 20s, just because I was good. I thought I was good. No, I've drove up to Pennsylvania, averaging 90 miles an hour on back roads, because
You're an outlaw.
just because I knew I was good. Like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to. That's why it's important for OGs to really like step in but when they do, it's important for those young guys to listen, you know, and of course a lot of that stuff of not listening. I'm not saying that Nipsey or Dolph for them, you know, any of these other guys that you know tragically lost their lives. Not saying that they didn't listen or anything like that, but when you have guys that just you know just continue to just move the way they want to move without the thought, you know, I don't know about much about King Von, but that seemed to be kind of like the case with him, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't. There is no solution though. There is no solution to this. That bottom line. It's a tragic story, but you just got to do the right things in terms of moving the right way. That's it.
So let me ask you guys this thing. Here's an interesting yet possible coincidental connection between most of the artists that we just named. I'm going to name some names here. And I'm going to name a common denominator of all of these names that are mentioned. Mo, King Von, XX, X Tenacion, if I said his name right. Triple X.
I say XXX. I don't know how to say that.
but Young Dolph, Aaliyah.
Mm-hmm.
Common denominator, all dead. Other common denominator, all signed. Oh, one more name, D Smoke. All signed
Oh,
under Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Pop Smoke was another guy. I'm not sure who he was signed with, but that's another guy that this happened to as well.
Agreed. Agreed.
You said they were all signed under Empire?
Conspiracy theories there.
Yeah, that's a deep rabbit hole you can go into.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, the
Yeah,
entertainment
man.
industry is an evil industry, man. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be far fetched to feel because I feel like I saw somewhere where it was like these labels have like insurance policies over their artists. So if they die, like they definitely collect. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. You know what I mean? Like the
Which from a
mob,
business perspective though,
yeah,
that makes sense from a business perspective.
you know.
Sucks,
It's,
but I get it.
I think, we're talking about a solution. I think the solution is, I don't know how long it's going to take, but just like changing the mindset of our people, man. Like we're the only genre where we're dying like this. You don't hear stories like this about country singers, pop singers, rock artists, you know what I mean? Like, not to make it a race thing, but it's facts. Like it's gonna take unlearning this like street mentality, like we can't all win type thing. You know what I mean? I don't know how that gets fixed, but
You know what the differences between hip hop and those other genres? The majority of artists come from areas
Slummed.
that are
yeah,
bad areas. So you have people like it's almost like the argument of like how people talk about like the black on black crime type thing, right?
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
It's about proximity. It's
yeah,
about proximity. So when you come from these specific areas, like I don't think we see things like this in country music because a lot of those
it's so
country
ghetto.
artists went to
They about
private
that life in
school
the
or yeah,
woods.
they don't come from
No.
places where stuff like this happens, like so
But but
it's proximity.
but
It's proximity. That's it.
but think about a guy like a Flow Ride. Flow Ride is from the streets.
Mm-hmm. He knows
Pitbull's
how to
from the
move.
streets.
He knows how to move though.
Pitbull is from the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what
there's
I'm saying. Like the majority of the artists, though, that's what I'm saying.
even
Like,
even a guy like, dare I say, even a guy like Chameleon there, who a lot of people don't realize is,
mm,
all it took was what he had out. And that man, going back to what you said about moving different, coming out of Houston,
mm-hmm.
Houston, Texas, where, just need I say more in terms of a big music market, yes, but also a dangerous city in its own right with certain things, and like doing what he's doing quietly in his own world of making tons of money, so you can change the mindset a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not saying that obviously, to my understanding, Chameleon never really wrote music about street life unless it was hustling, but you know, it still just has a factor that you can be from a hip hop lane and change your mindset a lot to.
Let me ask you this: are you talking about the mindset of the artist or the mindset of the people? Because I think it's different when you're talking about the artist versus the people because of the fact that again, it's the area. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to change the mindset of the people that are from that area. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I think, and that has nothing to do with race. It's just about where wherever these people come from, where you have people that are in these, like take Detroit for example. Like you have like Eminem came from Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not he never out from what I understand, he never dealt with something like this, but he also learned how to move differently after a while, you know. Um, but he wasn't in a specific lifestyle uh, 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 before fame that in terms of like gang violence and stuff like that, he wasn't, from my knowledge, he wasn't he wasn't doing
Yeah.
anything like that. So I think when you're talking about the mindset, I don't think it has is really more so the artist mindset than it is the people from where they come from. You know, I think that's the thing that I think if that changed in terms of, and it's not all the people. I don't even want to make it sound like it's all the
Right.
people, but
Mhm.
there are select people that are from those areas that grew up with these artists that just feel like they have the right to take that life because they didn't make it themselves, which I don't understand that mindset, because logically, if I see someone that is doing what I want to do and they're from where I'm from and I have access to them, wouldn't that just make sense to just talk to them and try to learn how they
And
did
make it more.
XYZ?
Yeah, and I was definitely talking about the mindset of the people because like it's not rappers shooting each other. It's usually just like a random street dude.
Mhm,
And I feel like you're right. Circumstances and proximity is why people act like this. But I
Mhm.
also feel like that's why a Nipsey, or that's why a Dolph was going back to be like, we don't have to do this. Like
Mhm.
mhm,
if if I win, I can help all of us win. It may not all be on this same level, but I'm
mhm,
showing you it's possible, and I'm showing you that I'm not trying to have it all for myself. So I
mhm,
think the goal was to try to shift the mindset of not the common people, but just everybody. It's just not catching. I think the intention is there. It's just not happening.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a
agree.
process. It's a process. It's and but I will say I think what the seed that Nipsey planted like in his community, I think that that's something that other communities will, you know, continue to learn from for sure. You know, hopefully that's something that helps change a lot of these people in terms of like perspective, because again, if you have someone that's from where you're from that came up how you came up and is successful, there's no need to take them out. Just try to learn from them, and you might not be the artist yourself, but there's a ton of positions in the music industry that you can put your talents, you know, to work with. There's a lot of
And
things you
it
can
don't
do.
even have to be inside the industry. Like it's just the hustle. Like the same way that they took street hustle and then applied it to business,
Hmm.
like just whatever that hustle and grind is, and apply it to whatever your lane is, you
Which
know?
makes sense.
Mhm. I agree. And so that's a good transition to ask this final question to y'all in with this mindset in general of the people, of the rapper in general, just with this entire genre as a whole.
Mhm.
Based off some of the things I've heard from all these other podcasts about life and death, power and life and death within the tongue of what you speak, what you put out into the atmosphere is what is going to eventually come your way. If you talk about the guns, the drugs, the gangs, the this, the that's, surviving, you're setting yourself up for an initial, eventual gun down, being a product of what you literally just rapped about, that you're implanting into other people because this is what they buy and this is what they listen to. Is that truly the case? Does that need to change too? Or is it because it sells so well, you can't change it until you change the minds of the people and what they sell?
I think manifesting is very much real, but I also feel like you can't tell somebody that they can't tell their story. Like, I think there's a difference between this is shit that I actually went through. This is the life that I was actually living. This is more so a testimony, if anything, to show like, yeah, I did that, but I was able to come up out of it, or at least I'm trying to. I think
Hmm.
there's a difference from doing that and somebody who's just wanting to put on a facade because they do think that particular image sells. And
Hmm.
I think the reason why a loss like Nip or a loss like Dolph hurts people, and I want to say this too, you weirdo fans that are like, saying that people can't be hurt when someone dies because they never posted their music or because they weren't a fan beforehand. That's fucking dumb. Stop it.
Yeah.
Like, real recognizes real, and I think with like a Dolph and Nip, regardless of if you were a diehard fan of their music, you
Mhm.
were a fan of the person, of the man, and how they moved and how they obviously inspired and touched a lot of people because real penetrates through all the bullshit. So I don't think it needs to stop because again, like, it's a testimony.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think that um I, that what you just described, that's something that with Nipsey, like I didn't get into his music until Victory Lap. Like until Victory Lap came out. That's when I first listened to his music. I was a fan of Nip, the person, just based off his interviews. That was it. I look forward to every interview I could catch from him. And then I was like, oh yeah, maybe I need to listen to his music. Because I started listening to his music, and then that's when he was taken. So I agree with that. What was the question again?
Just in terms of when you speak life,
Oh,
like what you put out there,
yeah.
do it does should you change that to keep this from happening, or because it
No.
sells as well as it does, much like sex and everything else in the music industry, is it something you just have to keep doing, and then if it happens to you, it happens to you because you put it out there, or
Yeah, I mean, I agree that manifestation is real. I don't think that I don't know that it really. I'm not going to say that. Of course, if you don't rap about a specific lifestyle, you're not going to get shot. Like
mm,
Jay-Z rapped about it, but it'd also be corny if he was still rapping about being on a corner.
Yeah.
So like the way I think about music is like almost like a diary.
mm,
Like you talk about where you are in the present time. So it's unrealistic or kind of silly to expect artists that live these lifestyles or have lived these lifestyles to say they shouldn't talk about it. I do believe you can still talk about it without uh I think you could say certain things without fully expressing like or saying certain words that can probably manifest something. Um but I mean life and power is in a is well, life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? So like it is a real thing. But I don't know that we're gonna see the end of this just because people stop rapping about being on a
Street
corner or
shit.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to stop that wholeheartedly.
mm,
Again, because you have people that are stupid, that are jealous, that ruin their own lives off of like the stupidest things. So yeah, that'll never end. That'll never end. I'm sorry.
mm,
But manifestation is a real thing though. So and I know 50 Cent said he spoke about that a lot with Pop Smoke. And he said that he even told Pop, "Hey, yo, you gotta stop saying XYZ in your music because think about it. You're gonna be on stage countless times repeating the same words over and over and over and over again, and that will draw that type of energy toward you. And I do agree that that is real. That is real. That's what I'm saying. I think you almost have to like figure out a certain way to tell certain stories without maybe calling certain things toward you. I think there's a way to do that, but uh, it's not going to stop anything, honestly. So
Well, um, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, at the end of the day, you've heard a bit of what we've said and thought in this subject matter as a whole. Ultimately, it's up to you, the people. It's up to you how you feel, what you choose to listen to, what you choose to do, what you know, what you don't know, how you educate your own mind, how you educate yourselves, regardless of where you come from, suburban, streets, slums, the highest of the high ends of the highest sides of town, wherever. At the end of the day, you've heard from us, you've heard our thoughts. Take it for yourself. Take it in how you feel. Now, guys, I can't let us in on a serious note like that. It's been too heavy. And they love us when we're light. They do. They love us when we're light and cheerful. You know, look at Janean, man. I haven't seen her smiling today. Yeah. So I have to ask this. I'm gonna do this in reverse. I'm gonna do a different version of what's been in your ears because of one specific app by the name of now. This is gonna be interesting because I know Derrick doesn't really probably vibe with this one, but I can play Spotify Warped for him anyway because I got an idea of what the majority has been for his year. So
Right, we don't even
Spotify,
need that. We know.
yeah, we don't need Spotify to know what Derrick's been warped with in all of 21, but still, for kicks and giggles, y'all, we'll do a Spotify version of what's in your ears in terms of a collection of what you've had this year. And well, we may not get the exact mathematics of everything they do, but who would you say you found yourself listening to the majority of this entire year so far? Just to give them a preview of our next episode. You know, who would you say in a collective unit you found yourself listening to majority this year?
Honestly, I don't think I have one artist. Like I have not sat and really just consumed albums in such a long time. Like a lot of what I
It could be
listen to,
genre. It could be genre,
yeah,
Cuzzo. Yeah, it could
a
be
lot of
genre.
my shit is like playlists. I have an Afro beats playlist that gets played every day. I have a breaking R&B playlist that I play pretty much every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um Maybe if I had to do artists, like if I had to, as far as like what albums I've sat and listened to over and over again, Tiana Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Giveon, um, Nipsey Always, um, Isaiah Rashad. I was spending a lot too. And this past week, Wale's album, like my goodness. I'm a fan of when people get into the bag
mm-hmm.
of whatever tells me where you're from. Because everybody sounds like they're from the A now, which is cool because like piece up A town down. But like you're not from here. So like what makes you you, right? And I feel like when I first heard Jersey Club specifically, I lost my fucking mind. When I started to compare Jersey Club and like Baltimore Club, I was like, okay, I see the difference. And when Wale gets into his go-go bag, he's
Mm-hmm.
undefeated, bro.
This is
Like
true.
undefeated.
Yeah.
So that was my short but long answer.
Oh my
um,
god.
I can tell you, of course, you know, J. Cole, number one.
Period.
Yeah. So it's
Period.
J. Cole. Let me see. Nipsey, Bob
Okay.
Marley, and Black. Those are the top four that I know. I could tell. I could tell off of the title. Those are the top four that I've listened to the most this year.
Mm, I love it.
Yeah.
It's expected, you
Oh yeah.
know?
Oh
It's
yeah. Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
I love it. I would say ooh, oh boy. Let's see. The majority of 2021 for the boy. Wow. Kind of like it's a mixture of you both, because kind of like Janine, it's like been a little mixture of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to try to warp this to see who it's mostly been. Genre-wise, it's definitely mostly been hip hop, mostly for this type of year, with a few sprinkles of like, you know, some pop or jazz or like R&B feels in there. But yeah, man, I'm gonna just say bump it. It's been your boy, low key. I mean,
Why not?
I ain't even gonna lie. It's been your boy highlight, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
Period.
I don't even think I'm saying that to be full of myself or kind. I'm just being like legit because I'm always in an artist mode, man. Like, I listen to other people, so like, I know when J. Cole dropped his album, yeah, he was someone I was had in the rotation for a while. Big Crit dropped the project, had him in rotation for a while. You know what I mean? Wale had him in rotation for a while. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it always kind of fell back to your boy. It just kind of like, all right,
As it
I've
should.
heard some correctives. Let me see what I can get to get ready for the people. So I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah. And then I mean, you got your throwbacks from some of the verses over the year, this year that have been removable. But we'll get into all of that in our next episode. All to say this wrapped was just to give y'all a preview on a light note, so it didn't end so seriously. Give y'all a light note to get ready for our next episode of Past the Ox. Why? Because this is going to be a fun one where we take some of our most memorable artists and albums and projects and playlists, whatever, of this entire year. And we throw moments in there too, if we can remember some of those, moments of what someone or somebody did within this year, all that jazz.
Look forward to it.
It's going to be a fun episode. We want to see y'all there. You're listening, so you can't really dress up. But if you feel like you're gonna be in the vicinity of when we do this, go and put your best dress clothes on. Get it ready. Because the Past the Ox Awards are coming to you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes, they are.
And I'll be wearing a hoodie.
My boy Bill Belichick. Oh, I love it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got, man. I just want to say thank y'all so much again for always rocking with your boy and your girl. Your boys and your girl. However you want to say it, we get plural. All that. Thank you for rocking with us. Yes. A saying that has stuck with her ever since. I love it. Thank you for rocking with us. We always appreciate y'all support, y'all love. Coming at you bigger and better next year. We got the guests coming. We got guests coming back next year. I know some of y'all probably missed that a little bit. We'll be bringing that back to you soon. But we thank y'all so much for always rocking with us, supporting us. We support y'all. We love y'all. Let us know y'all alive out there, man. We thank y'all for everything we do. I'm gonna let my favorite co-hosts go ahead and give y'all the information so we can get about here. So
at Nina Soul on Instagram, NIINASOL, link in bio. That's so cringe, but literally link in bio has everything. And then OTS, of course.
Why do you say that like in a shy way? Like
because I hate that. Like, I don't want it to be that girl, like a link in bio. Just
I gotta say link in bio because I'm not gonna give you everything. You better go to the link. Oh man, no, but at Derrick _OTS DERRICK, black way to spell it. Power to the people. And also yes, ma'am. Oh, the brand OTS Media Co. All social media platforms. Go to the website otsmediaco.com. Check out the new articles. Check out the shows that we have on there. Please rate and review the shows. We would love to hear more from you guys. And this is the way we chart. A little more on Apple. So, just give us a little rating, a little review. Let us know how we doing. And I think that's it.
Is that it? Oh man, you see what I'm saying? Hey, well, y'all know what it is, man. Thank you, boy. Y'all already know. Follow your boy at Dwayne Dickey Jr. on the IG, at Highlight Life on Instagram and Twitter, man. We got some stuff we're working on for y'all, getting game plan for next year. But we all gonna be taking breaks pretty soon, so y'all want to make sure. All right, we're gonna make this known real quick. All right, we're gonna go a little hiatus for about a couple weeks. All right. So don't come for us when y'all be like, where Pastor Ox at? All right, we putting the warning and the disclosure out there now. It's the end of the season, okay? That's why we're giving y'all the end of the year awards, man. It's like the grand finale, the season finale, till we get cracked with the next season up top next year, all right?
Oh, it is definitely a season finale.
The disclaimer is out there, all right? The disclaimer is out there. I'm just letting y'all know. So don't come for me. Don't come for Derrick and Janean. We gonna bring it back. Just at next year. All right. So we're gonna see y'all
an opportunity to catch up on anything you've missed. Just binge watch everything. Binge listen to everything. Even if you heard it once before, it's fine. We can visit episodes.
Yes.
That's it.
If you ever miss us, we have catalog, baby.
Catalog.
Check out other shows too.
It's all there.
Check it all out. Especially Venus and Mars, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure y'all check out the latest episode of Venus and Mars featuring Miss Nikki Franklin, where it was about the insecure. It was two fellas versus two ladies, and you already know who won that battle. But we're not gonna say, is that right, Derrick? I don't know, but hey.
Team Lawrence, baby.
There's a little bit of delusion happening here, but it's fine. We can talk about it later. It's fine. It's fine.
About it.
Well, that being said, good peoples, y'all already know what it is, man. Hey, as Derrick said, follow all things OTS Media Co. everywhere from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, OTS Media, all platforms, www.otsmediaco.com. Make sure y'all think it. And the website did just update, I do believe, didn't it, Derrick?
Not yet.
Or was it not yet? Well, it's updating.
I need some downtime to do it. Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, we gotta go before he passes out on camera.
Time to go. We can't get this whole camera. Yes, follow things OTS. That being said, thank y'all so much. The ox has officially been passed to you.